Hi, how are you today? Today I would like to introduce one French book that I think it's not difficult to read for the reason that the author is a Canadian person, the writer, and her name is Nancy Huston. The title of the book is Aujourd'hui and Suivi de 12 France. It's within different chapters talking about different challenges, sentiments that she has when she was in France. And I think this book is very helpful to have because the language and also the grammar is not too difficult. I think B1 and B2 you can read this book. And then I encountered one chapter, one paragraph, very interesting. I would like to read. She mentioned that à l'étranger, on est enfant à nouveau, et dans le pire sens du terme, infantilisé, réduit à l'enfant, c'est-à-dire au silence, privé de parole, totalement idiot et impuissant. La langue anglaise le dit bien, qui fait converger dans le mot d'ample le mutisme et la bêtise. Il n'y a plus que la vie pratique, dont chaque minute détail est une montagne. Où se trouve le bureau de poste? Comment fonctionnent les téléphones? Qu'est-ce que c'est que toutes ces pièces de monnaie? On ne sait rien. Rien. Combien devrais-je payer pour mon rickshaw? Est-ce que je suis en train de me faire avoir? Pourquoi ridicule? Que racontent les journaux? Je vous mets un cornflake, maman. It's very interesting and very funny. I think this book is a good tool to have to increase our knowledge about French and French language, and especially when as being a foreigner in different country, we must have some difficult time, and also we have the feeling that compared with our compatriots in living in the country. For example, when I talk with my friends, they all grew up in China and didn't live in another country. I noticed that we don't have a lot of common topics anymore because when we grew up, each one has their personal life cycle. So she also mentioned in this book, and she noticed that her family didn't care about her real life, and that's true for me. I remember because of the COVID, I didn't get back to China for 4 to 5 years because the lockdown there and the restrictions heavy. And then when China reopened the door, I choose a week to visit my family, and I missed them so much. I dreamed a lot. I mean, for reducing my pain because it was my first time to study abroad, which means since I arrived here and I never back. So in 2023, I went back to my hometown. It's around the montagne, the mountains, and then I talked with the people there and my neighborhoods and my relatives, my mom, my dad, my grandma and grandpa. They were talking about very trivial things. For example, they mentioned a girl which is my classmate in middle school, she get married or she get divorced or some kind of things. I didn't know that. And it's good for me because before, even when I didn't living abroad, I also didn't care. I don't feel guilty because I didn't very interested in others' gossip. And when someone told me about A and B, they have a relationship, I would say I usually ignore them. And I don't think that accounts for a lot and doesn't influence our relationship. I mean, A and B, I didn't think it's important that they have their privacy. I didn't care about that one. But in China, we also have a lot of gossip, and in France, yeah. The thing is, when I tell my story, my experience in France, they will answer you, yeah. You must have gone through a lot of things. And then it's the period. I stopped talking about myself. It's a strange feeling. And also I noticed, excluding my family members and my relatives, a lot of neighbors, we didn't contact a lot. But in that conversation, I cannot recognize the face. I know he is someone who was familiar with me, but I cannot retell his name or her name. It's very awkward and very embarrassing. Hey, uncle, can you tell me your name? And then my uncle looked so shocked. In China, we have a lot of uncles and aunts. So this uncle, and a little bit angry because it seems like I have forgotten his name. But then I added one word. It's because I have been in another country for several years. But could you tell me your name? And then he gave me his name. And also in this book, the author retells her story that she was with her family, and when she mentioned a lot of interesting things in France, it seems like they feel interested, but actually they don't care. So my family also don't care my lifestyle in France, because when the years adds up, they would care less and less, because it seems that I decided to live in here and decided not to back. We don't have any interest together. I would like to mention this book is because I think the vocabulary and the expression is not too difficult to understand. There is another paragraph. She mentioned that she encountered with her daughter in France. She mentioned that même si je vis en France depuis plus longtemps que, par exemple, mes enfants, je ne serai jamais aussi française qu'eux. Dans la famille, tout le monde est français, mais c'est comme l'égalité, il y en a qui sont plus français que d'autres. Mais en France, les résidents d'une Canadienne et d'un Bulgare sont français sans problème et sans complexe. Grâce au taux relatif bas de mélanine dans leur pigmentation, il est évident que la progéniture française d'une Togolaise et d'un Cambodgisien aura plus de mal à se sentir chez elle. Vous sentez-vous française maintenant? Me demandons souvent. Les expatriés éternellement exposés aux questions stupides. Cela voudrait dire quoi? Se sentir français? À quoi le reconnaîtrais-je si ça devait m'arriver un jour? On peut conférer aux êtres d'origine étrangère la nationalité française. Les naturaliser, comme on dit pour les animaux que l'on en paye. On peut leur donner des diplômes français, des honneurs français, voire l'immortalité française. Ils ne seront jamais français parce que personne ne peut leur donner une enfance française. Donc non, même avec une enfance française, il y en a, et pas un petit nombre, qui ont du mal à se sentir français. C'est-à-dire, l'enfance proche ou lointaine est toujours en nous. I recommend this book. Ciao ciao!